So we're on the World on Fire album from Slash, featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, and this is a song which has way more views on Spotify than you might think for one of his sort of solo project hits, but Bent to Fly, which has the really cool alternate picked arpeggiated introduction, and then a really heavy rock riff as well towards the middle, and a pretty interesting solo when you look into it. So we're doing that today on How to Play Guitar. Do subscribe down there if you love a bit of Slash. We've got loads of other tracks on this channel, loads of other songs from his solo projects, and Guns N' Roses, of course. But anyway, let's get into it now with Bent to Fly. So we're down a semitone. First thing to say is that we're also on the neck pickup here, with a clean tone, so no distortion. And what Slash does is he also plays along with an acoustic guitar that doubles the same line as the electric guitar. So that's what's happening in the intro here. We've got an initial pattern that repeats 3 times. We've got these chords, so D minor. Then we've got a sort of C shape with a D in the top, and then we've got a G. And then that's followed by an F. And the way Slash plays that is interesting. There's 2 variations. There's the sort of bar version and there's the thumb version, which we're going to get into now. But first of all, let's just get the shapes right. So 2nd, 4th and 1st fingers for the D minor. 3rd finger for that move to the C, then 2nd finger, then the G, and then we have the bar version of the F. So the alternate picking pattern begins. Remember, we're tuned down half a step. So even though I say D minor, of course, you can say it's D flat minor if you like. So here we go then, alternate picking. Over to this. And take that 2nd finger off for that one. Then the 2nd finger comes down. Over to the G shape. Then we've got this F. And what Slash does is he has a 1st finger on the low F, and then moves it during the arpeggiation to this B string and that 1st finger on the B. So we'll play it through a few times now to give you an idea of the speed and the pace that we've got to do here, because it's a little bit faster than you might think. So what's interesting is that it's pretty hard to play. The F bar version is actually harder than doing the thumb. And I can't massively see the advantage of going over. But anyway, that's the way Slash does it. Perhaps it's about keeping the hand shape the same when you're going from the G, rather than using the thumb and altering that hand shape. Anyway, after the first 3 times, you get it one more time, and there's just a little change at the end, so... So this bit here, so 3 on the left hand, so 3rd finger, 3rd finger, 1st finger, then 3rd finger, so... in a live situation, you get a hammer on, so... But on the album it's down, down, up, down. Then we're on to verse 1. So our D minor shape stays, our arpeggiation is the same. But we just pause on that top F there, so... And then it's... Then a little bit different. So a little hammer on there. And that comes around 3 times, so... So that goes round. Then the last time it's different as per bar 7. Then we carry on. Now this is interesting because we've got thumb based chords here, but the thumb is muting the lower string. So you've got, and then you move. Then we've got bar chords here. But what happens there is that the pickup is switched to the bridge, some distortion goes on at the same time. So we get... So what happens here is a lot of power chords repeated around this D. So the first and third fingers are held down, but you don't really hear the third finger on the B string. It's just there as a kind of safety net. So you hit down, up, down. Then with the second finger you bend. So it's quite hard to do that. So once you've hit that little riff, you jump down to the F power chord. And then something really tough is you only hit this D note on its own into this G chord. Now the G chord here doesn't have the third with the first finger in the root, so in the bass, sorry, so you just have, it's not really a G major, it's just a G extended power chord in root position. It's only played once the first time, which is why it's in brackets. And then you move to the third finger. And that's the one that always throws me every time, because Slash plays that bend with the third finger, even though everything else is played with the second finger. But that's how it goes. So let's play it around again. Move up again to this D in bar 15. Play that D again. You've got two of these. Now, just worth saying, I'm in bar 18 at the moment, but just worth saying that acoustically, if you ever hear Slash do a version of this song, he does a little extra note. He goes, so a little open E. This is a nice little variation, and you can do that extra note with an extra up pick. And we've landed on the end of bar 20, and we're about to hit 21 with solo number 1. So there's a lot of interesting stuff about this. First thing to say is there's a hammer on, then a down up, and then you have to sort of fall onto your A string. Little half bend, and then you release. So all of that is a pull off without any pick. Then you hit the up, vibrato, side away. And then the next bit is the same little opening riff, so, and then you're over on the D string. So land on the fourth finger, then you do a kind of, not quite a ghost bend, but you bend back into that 8th fret with the 7 upper half. So that's how that bit works. And it slides. Little quarter bend on that bottom F. Now that slide up is the end of the solo. That coincides with a different guitar line. Coming back onto the neck pickup and falling back into the verse, which we're just going to run through now. Not too much to explain because we've covered this off in a previous video, but just so you know, at the same time as a D is played in the backing guitar. That repeats. Make sure you don't do what I did and slightly mispick the notes there. Then you're on to bar 27. And And this is different to the change up in the last verse because there's no doubling notes there in bar 28. Instead, it just goes straight into and then it's exactly the same. Switch the distortion on, go down to the bridge, and then we do these power chords. So sometimes you hear it as well, but Slash does do it up there on the album. And sometimes uses the thumb as well, so I would go for the one that I've notated out. Then we're on chorus 2, which is again the same as a previous video, so we're just running through this now for completeness sake in bar 33. So So the main A power chords with the, well, it's really a power chord with the major in. That's easy. That's an unusual chord. And then what happens is in the top guitar you get the solo beginning on the neck pickup. And then you hear a low F as well, carrying on with that sort of backing guitar. So let's jump into the main solo then. Interesting solo. Distortion stays on here, and we're on that neck pickup, like I say. Use that second finger and a fourth finger across the 13th frets there to do this bend. Full bend from the 12th to the 14th. And then we've got... So it's a release then. And then same again. So there, replace it with the third finger. And then it's a fat third finger across. And then in bar 47 it slides up with the third finger. So and then you jump up with the third finger to the 16th. And then it changes to the first finger and then the 18th fret. That's a huge well, it's a 4 fret bend really. 2 tone bend. And then now this is where it gets really interesting. Now the best way to play this is really to just do it quickly and go like this. And just kind of make it up. However, the specific notes are 17th fret, slide on the first finger, and then you get 13th, drop, and then second finger, and then second finger, but then reach back, third finger, and then that's the 4th, and then up to the 6th. So that's a second finger on that 5th, and then a third slide. First. And then what happens is that note is held over And then you've got the verse 3 guitar coming in, which is where you lose your distortion and you're back, you're staying on the neck, and you're on this accompaniment, which we'll just play through now. Carries on to 55. And it sits there, and then the distortion comes in, switch to the bridge, and we're back to chorus 3. Ooh, there it is. So chorus 3 is interesting because you've got what I like to call an interpolation between the heavy rock riffs in the background and then a soaring guitar over the top. So you've got... Must remember to do that with the third finger, and then over the top of that you've got and it carries on. You got so first finger. So that's the 13th with the first finger. And then you jump up to this 10th. And then we've got... and then you get... And then it's slide down then up to the 16. And you can't really hear the notes underneath. Then we go to fret 20. And play it with that rhythm. Then we're on the 17th fret. Rebend up, then you've got 19. Fourth finger replacement to the... Then we got an unusual 15th frets there, so we go... Very unusual. Then we've got the outro, which is like... And then this D. And then underneath you just hear. And then you get... And that's it. Some weird ends to the solos, but very cool stuff. Thank you for watching this playthrough. If you want to hear any more Slash solo stuff, let me know from the World on Fire album or others. The Wicked Stone's a great track, it's very long. Anastasia as well, something I've been thinking about doing for a while with the kind of... Anyway, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, do subscribe, and we'll see you next time.